Nathaniel.
No, so you make three specific arguments for the existence of God. And I disagree with that because I feel that humans are inherently altruistic and moral.
That's your opinion. Is there an external referent, an authoritative, unchanging referent?
If we did not take care of each other as a social species, we would have very, very limited capabilities of still existing.
Why is it a good thing? And why us surviving? Why not roaches or antelope?
Philosophical debate. In this philosophical exchange, a student challenges the moral argument for the existence of God, arguing against the notion that belief in God is necessary for a moral foundation. The student begins by expressing disagreement with the idea that God is required for morality, asserting a belief in the inherent goodness and moral nature of people. The discussion delves into the concept of altruism and morality, with the student contending that humans are, by nature, kind and caring for one another. The justification for this inherent goodness lies in its contribution to the survival of the species, enabling procreation and the continuity of human existence. The conversation takes a hypothetical turn, introducing Stalin as an example of someone contemplating survival through aggression. The student argues that even in exceptional situations where caring for others might be abandoned, the initial human urge is altruistic. This altruistic inclination would be overridden only by external motivations, illustrating the inherently moral nature of humans. A critical point surfaces as the discussion questions the basis for labeling actions as good in the absence of God. The student is asked whether their moral stance has an external referent or authoritative unchanging reference, making it objective, or if it is merely a subjective opinion.
Nathaniel.
No, so you make three specific arguments for the existence of God. I first off would like to try and take down the argument on morality.
Well, again, I think you're begging the question as to what altruism is.
The student posits that the consistency of caring for one another across humanity can be considered a moral impulse, suggesting a shared moral code. The dialogue then references C.S. Lewis's perspective in The Abolition of Man, acknowledging a universal agreement on basic morality across diverse cultures. However, the central issue remains. Why is altruism or caring for one another deemed inherently good without relying on a divine source? In a moment of agreement, the student concedes the existence of a moral impulse. Dr. Frank Turek references Lewis's viewpoint, reinforcing the idea of a shared moral code written on human hearts. The discussion concludes with the challenge of exploration into the complexities of morality, the divine, and the human experience.
That's your opinion. Is there an external referent, an authoritative, unchanging referent?
For the existence of a God, it's the argument for the fact that we should have an idea of an existence of a God.
In The Abolition of Man, when he looked at all the diverse cultures and he said, they agree on basic morality.
Unraveling the threads. The conversation unfolds as they navigate the complexities of human behavior, attempting to reconcile a worldview without God with the inherent moral compass within humanity. The student asserts that altruism is an intrinsic aspect of human nature, contending that the goodness of our actions doesn't require external validation. However, the discussion takes a thought-provoking turn as examples involving historical figures like Hitler and Stalin are introduced. The question arises: can the actions of these individuals, driven by selfish motives and harm to others, be objectively deemed wrong without a transcendent moral standard? The conversation then shifts to the evolutionary perspective, emphasizing the social nature of humans. Survival is posited as a fundamental good, prompting an inquiry into the underlying reasons for such a judgment. The student reflects on the survival instincts of various species, raising the query of why certain creatures have gone extinct while others, including humans, thrive. Dr. Frank Turek skillfully guides the conversation towards a critical juncture. He prompts the student to consider the source of the standard that dictates the imperative to care for others.
And I disagree with that because I feel that humans are inherently altruistic and moral.
But some will say that's because God has written it on our hearts. But the issue isn't how we know.
But because humans are inherently altruistic, his first urge would be to take care of the person.
The student's acknowledgement that goodness transcends cultural and societal interpretations leads to a profound realization. The concept of good and evil is deeply entwined with religious constructs. As the student grapples with this cognitive dissonance, Dr. Turek underscores the compelling nature of the moral argument. The student's hesitation at the end of the interaction indicates a profound realization that the assumptions about morality are intricately linked to the acknowledgement of an objective reality beyond individual or societal interpretations, a reality that points towards the existence of God. This exchange highlights the intricate interplay between philosophical inquiries, moral reasoning, and the implication for one's worldview, showcasing the depth and complexity inherent in discussions on the existence of God and the foundations of morality.
Where are you getting this standard this objective standard that you ought to take care of people? Where does that come from if there's no God?
Because Stalin would have the initial urge not to.
You're importing terms, moral terms like honor.
Exploring morality and ontology. In this continued conversation, the participants delve into the intricate facets of morality and ontology, seeking to understand the origins of moral principles without necessarily invoking religious connotations. The dialogue starts with a consideration of the necessity of discussing these topics, with an acknowledgement of the strong implications carried by the term religion. The conversation then takes a turn towards ontology, the study of existence, as the participants ponder where morality originates. A nuanced exploration unfolds, addressing the participants' aesthetic stance and inviting an inquiry into materialism or belief in immaterial reality. The significance of understanding immaterial reality is highlighted, and the discussion prompts an exploration of how this concept can be explained in the absence of a divine entity.
Why is it a good thing? And why us surviving? Why not roaches or antelope?
If we did not take care of each other as a social species, we would have very, very limited capabilities of still existing.
Atheism doesn't work.
You know, I think you're right.
An agreement is found regarding the existence of moral laws that dictate the rightness of love and care for others and the wrongness of murder. However, the pivotal question arises: how do we know these moral laws, and what is their ontological foundation? The dialogue draws parallels to historical instances, such as questioning Nazis who claimed to obey their government but were challenged about a higher standard and its ontological basis. The conversation then weaves into interpretations of existence, linking our lineage of life to concepts like honor, goodness, and the importance of respecting life. The participants navigate the challenges of importing moral concepts into an atheistic framework, highlighting the struggle to ground these ideas without a transcendent source. A compelling moment arises as a hypothetical scenario is posed. If Christianity were true, would the participant consider converting? The response opens the door to a potential exploration of religious beliefs, and an offer is extended to provide a book for further reading. In this continued exchange, the participants demonstrate a willingness to engage in thoughtful exploration, confronting the complexities of morality, existence, and belief systems.
It's not necessarily who said, it is what is. We are altruistic.
Well, it depends on what you mean by religion. I'm just talking, we can leave religion out of it, it's a loaded term.
We could superpose that as a moral impulse that we have.
Atheistic frameworks. The discussion takes an intriguing turn as the participant suggests sharing emails to continue the conversation. There's a light moment where the suggestion is met with humor, creating an amicable atmosphere. This exchange reflects the essence of the conversation alluded to by Frank Turek, invoking the Nuremberg trials at the end of World War II. The Nuremberg trials serve as a poignant example where nations collectively deemed the actions of the Nazis morally wrong, even though Nazi society had initially deemed them right. This historical context prompts a deeper reflection on the nature of morality and how it stands against societal consensus. The dialogue delves into the influence of atheistic and Darwinian thought on Hitler's ideology, challenging the idea that moral norms can be derived solely from societal agreements. It is suggested that Hitler, despite the societal approval he received, was ultimately mistaken, and this realization becomes a cornerstone in the argument.
Let me ask you another question. I'm going to ask you the question I said I would ask you. If Christianity were true, would you become a Christian?
But if you give it to me, I would take a look.
It doesn't seem like you're that interested in it.
If you give me your email, I'll tell you that I read it.
The participant appreciates the conversation, expressing genuine liking for the interchange. The central question arises: how does one make moral decisions, especially when societal norms conflict with an ultimate moral norm that transcends any specific culture or civilization? This segment encapsulates the ongoing exploration of morality and its foundations, showcasing the tension between societal agreements and an objective moral standard. The participant, while appreciating the dialogue, finds himself at a juncture where the implications of an objective moral norm are acknowledged, and the conversation suggests a potential shift in perspective. That's all for this video, folks. We'll see you next time.